So Jan's question is, how can I motivate my customers to look beyond the coronavirus period?
Yeah, do you want me to start with that, Sam? I think it's a really, really good question. Obviously, I mean, the first thing I will say on this is I don't think either Sam or I are presenting ourselves as experts on how to cope with a lockdown, because we're experiencing it for the first time, just like you guys. So our answers will be based on what we observe, what we feel, what we sense, and only time will tell, you know, whether what we observe was right. So please take any responses with that, as we say in England, with a pinch of salt. Here's what I see and what I sense is happening. I think we're going to be in lockdown for a number of weeks to come. Obviously, some countries are further ahead on the curve than others. I'm looking from a UK perspective. If you're in Italy, obviously you've been in this position for a lot longer than us, and in Spain as well, and to a large degree harsher circumstances as well. What I have seen and what I sense is that there's a pattern to it. I think we will be on lockdown for a while yet. And the pattern is that the first few weeks, customers are focused on adapting, changing and following the circumstances. They're not in buying mode unless there's a direct need that's relevant to them there and then. So to take a generic example, what have I gone out and purchased personally in the last few weeks, other than food and drink? It has been fitness equipment so that I can carry on keeping healthy from home. And it's been audio-visual equipment so that I can up my game in terms of using Zoom and things like this, so I can adapt. Those are my immediate needs, and that's what I'm buying. Anything else sits on the back burner. The same is exactly in place for all of your clients. And in particular, if you're looking at their purchasing needs for the office, then they're not really thinking about that at all at the moment. Once that initial phase is over and people settle down, two things happen. One is that they suddenly find they have more time on their hands to have conversations that they wouldn't have normally. So I've found already that I can reach out to clients who are normally very hard to access, and they're very responsive to me, because they're suddenly finding their days aren't populated with meetings. They're not commuting. They're not going between different offices, which means that suddenly time is freed up. So they are willing to start having conversations. And the second is they'll start planning. So it's about getting them at the right moment. The exception to that is if you're selling something that will help them in the here and now. So I've seen both Steve and Derek post on LinkedIn in the last couple of days how Brother can help support people working from home. Those are the conversations they may well have now, but you need to know that that's their pressing need. That's their pressing challenge to get them into the conversation. So that would be my sense. Empathy is the number one keyword at the moment. Understand where your client is, what their focus is on at the moment, and craft your conversation to that, rather than coming from where you want to the conversation you want to have. Sam?
Thanks, Andy. Yeah, to add to that, I think this is the time to be really adding value and giving and helping and just showing support. You know, as Andy said, they're not in buying mode right now, and they may not be for some time. But I mean, this is a great example of a giving added value thing. I mean, me and Andy Kate talked to each other, and we were thinking, well, how can we best help Brother? And this was one of the solutions to how we can help you guys as clients. So Andy and I are not being paid for this session. We wanted to help, and this is a way to support and help. So in your world, how can you give, help, add value, support your existing customers right now without thinking in a getting mode, but more in a giving mode? So I think that's, in addition to what Andy has said, there would be a good way to motivate customers at the moment and to stay in touch. And there are lots of ways to do that, but it is very much about staying top of mind with both your prospects and your existing customers.
One of the things that I keep hearing from people is that people will remember the way others made them feel during the coronavirus outbreak. And if people feel overly pressured into a conversation they don't want to have, that's what they'll hold on to. They'll remember the positives and they'll remember the negatives. So I would focus, when you're looking at that long term post coronavirus, I would look at how do you want them to, you know, how can you use this time to build that relationship, take it to the next level. So yeah, that point about looking to give, looking to support, checking in, how are you? What are your challenges? Are you okay to operate normally? Is there anything I can do to help?